Welcome back to Behaviorally Speaking, Leadership for Changemakers, the podcast where we explore how everyday behaviors shape leadership, culture, and change. In today's episode, From Vision to Practice, what educational administrators can teach us about behaviorally informed leadership, I'm joined by Evangelist Dr. Monay Legette, the principal of Samuel Everitt School, where she provides services for high school and transition age students. Dr. Legette's faith-based background has been the foundation of her leadership beliefs, style, and delivery, and her people-centered perspective on leadership. Our conversation is honest, practical, and deeply human. Together, we dive into the real work of leadership, balancing systems and relationships, learning from mistakes, building trust, and creating environments in complex education settings where people genuinely feel seen, valued, and supported. So let's get started. So Monay, thank you so much for joining today's episode. How are you feeling coming into our conversation today?
I am very, very excited. This is just a topic that I'm very excited with, especially with my new position. So I want to kind of get it out there and help others.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It seems like a really honest place to start the conversation, especially for, leaders like ourselves who carry so much responsibility. So let's just go ahead and get started. So can you talk a little bit about your journey into becoming an educational leader?
Sure. So I have always been in the educational field. I started off in Philadelphia, a K-8 school, Kenderton, in Philadelphia. I was just a special education teacher, learning support. And then the principal there, she seen, a spark in me, and she decided to take me on as a special ed liaison. Although I still taught, I was still in charge of the special ed department. And then that grew into me being the dean of students. And then that transitioned me to a different school in Philadelphia. But at that time I was, pretty young, had a young family. So I decided to go back into, just the classroom to be closer to my family. But that did not last long. That lasted about a year.
Okay.
and then I became, the director of special ed in Bristol Borough School District.
Oh, nice.
So I was, yeah. The nice thing is it was still, very close to home. I think that's why I decided to take the position, because I literally walked the street.
Wonderful. Can't beat that.
But I got to meet, I got to work with, the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, within that building. And I really, really liked that organization. So they offered me a position, which was, I guess, a step down, if you want to say that, but I didn't see it that way. Where I became the special ed coordinator, for a, residential, facility, which I loved.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I was there for 8 years, and now I am here, which I'm a principal at a center-based program with the Bucks County IU.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And one of the things I heard you say was your special ed director, and I'm paraphrasing, saw your work, right? And that sort of helped propel you into where you are now. And a lot of times the path we choose or the path we're on really starts with sometimes not even us noticing patterns in our behaviors and the things and our skills. It's like others, and them wanting to see us improve. So thank you for sharing that. So staying with that, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So staying with that theme, right? What inspired you to pursue leadership in education?
I think because someone saw the leadership in me.
Okay.
I don't think that was something that I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was hesitant. Actually, I talked to her recently when I got this position, because I was a little, I needed some mentoring.
I feel you.
I was like, how did you do this? And and she shared with me, she said, you have it. I knew you had it, and I had to kind of get that out of you, and that stuck with me, and it still sticks with me, because I think I take that into my leadership now.
Yeah. I really love that you said that, Monay, because it's sort of like her mentoring you, but empowering you, right? Forcing your growth and your resilience, and, regardless of the challenges you're facing, but then at the end of the day, you can still reach out to her, right?
Yes.
I think that's so critical for us as leaders, but then for us supporting others as well. So, Monet, there are millions of views on leadership, right? And then there are our own views. So for you, what does leadership mean to you, Monet? What's like the Monet definition?
So I think, so I'm going to kind of piggyback on, our school's theme. So we are
Okay.
the wolf. And,
Okay.
what wolves as leaders is they make sure everyone else is okay, that they are reaching their goals. So leader
Okay.
is not me reaching my goal, is to making sure everyone around me that I lead is getting where they need to go. And that's how, that is my, I believe that's how I feel about leadership. That I have to make sure everyone that's under me is at their potential. That I am encouraging to get to their potential. And I think that has a lot to do with the principle that's seen in leadership in me.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Cause I always really focus on moving people from where they are to where they could be. And that's exactly what you said, right? Making sure
Mm-hmm.
everyone is okay. Someone will make sure you're okay, but
Right.
acknowledging that responsibility, right? I really,
Right.
really love that. Yeah. Um, So to keep moving, so Monet, I recently read an article, right? It was by Rabbi Isaac Entin. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. But this was it's one of the things that was shared with us. It was the Journal of Jewish Day School Leadership. And he wrote about we have an opportunity to allow each child the chance to shine, right? And make their schools neater and safer and happier, right? And it's Jewish. So he talked about the Meda of Seder, where it's really that ethical character in the Jewish belief that focuses on order, right? So it emphasizes structure and balance and purpose and like finding a middle ground, Monet, to stay connected to those that we lead and supervise. And one of the points he wrote that really stood out to me was those who develop the ability to organize themselves, their materials, and their time to get an automatic boost of they get an automatic boost of self-confidence, right? And that follows them throughout the day and supports them throughout their lives. So I believe that us as leaders, Monet, have a responsibility to design systems that balance our administrative responsibilities while at the same time staying connected to those we lead and supervise. So how do you do that, Monet? How do you balance your responsibilities but still find time to stay connected with those that you lead and supervise?
Wow. So that's interesting. So this is kind of where we're at now,
Okay.
because kind of taking you back to, so this is a very new position for me. I
Yeah.
just started it in August. So we are trying to figure out what does that look like? What do the systems look like? What are the systems? And I think
Right.
we worked through the first half of the year figuring that out. What does that look like? Because number one, people that
Yeah.
have to be able to trust you and make sure that there is systems in place that,
Right.
that there is organization. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually started with the look of the building.
Oh,
The
nice.
building had
Okay.
an expectation, like it's welcoming to come into. It's
Mm.
clean. Things are organized. Things are where they're supposed to be. I think that's important because people know that, you honor the building, you honor where they work. And I
Right.
think that, and that kind of trickled down to my staff. Also what I did as well as far as systems is they know I have an open door policy that you can
Mm.
come in and talk to
Okay.
me and we can kind of figure out what that looks like. Like I'm a welcoming person,
Yeah.
someone that they can come in and discuss things with them and that they're valued.
Yeah.
So I think all those things, being able to have the systems in place, but knowing that they're in place for a reason. I think you
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure you let your staff know that this is
Yeah.
why. That I'm just not
Right.
doing it because I'm the leader. No, this is why, because we need to keep safety a priority. We need to make sure students
Mm-hmm.
are getting what they need as well as staff,
Yeah.
and make sure people feel valued in those systems and have a say in those systems as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I love everything you just said. So you talked about welcoming, right? And I think of
Hmm.
belonging. You talked about an
Hmm.
open door policy where people feel welcome and invited, right? The why. That's always big to me. You talked about that. Then you also
Hmm.
talked about making them feel valued, right? There's so much strength and power in that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really think, you in that role, you have the opportunity to influence the lives, right, of those you're
Hmm.
serving, whether it's the students or the staff. So that sounds really good to me. But at the same time, Monet, right, even though we may put all these systems in place and, implement best practices and what's proven in research, right, as humans, Monet, we make
Yes.
mistakes and we make errors. They're inevitable. But my mantra, Monet, is always we can learn from our mistakes, right? And I really delved into this conversation with my daughter in my most recent episode. So to bring this topic of learning from mistakes into our conversation, what's one leadership lesson you learned from a mistake or error, Monet, that you're willing to share with our listeners?
Yes, I think jumping to conclusions, like not hearing
Mm,
all the sides. I think
okay.
I wanted to really hear this one person,
Yeah.
and I thought I made the right decision, but I didn't get the full story. I didn't get the full picture. And now I'm learning that I have to get all the sides, right?
Yeah.
Because there's like
Yeah.
5 sides to a story, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And then there's still some more.
And then there's still some more. And it's my job to figure out what is the best action for our students and for our staff. And I think in that moment, I was just trying to appease the person and make them feel better instead of
Yeah.
really figuring out the bigger story, because
Yeah.
that was her opinion on it. And I
Right.
think from now on, I'm going to take from that, from actually, I said from not from now on, but from that time
Yeah.
forward, I noticed that I needed to make sure I got the full story before
Yeah.
I made a decision.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. And for me, I think it's also like the urgency and all of those things we have to do, right? So it's like, all right, sometimes I think that contributes to our mistakes. For
Yes.
me, last week, I can tell you what I made is, so something I've learned along the way, Monet, is that assuming shared understanding is a mistake, right? So you have a conversation and you just assume everybody understands.
Right,
And
right, right.
then, like clarity, as a leadership behavior, even without it, even good intentions can miss the mark. So it happened to me where we had a conversation. I assumed, okay, we both understood next steps. And then so I checked in this week and then staff wasn't notified. And she was like, well, I thought, you know what I mean? So then I was like, okay,
Yes,
fine. I acknowledged it and I immediately, because I was going to another site, I had my laptop already packed up. I pulled it out, send the email,
right,
that same time. But like they happen, the things happen, but it's kind of
yes,
learning from it. And it just reminded me always check in, like making sure everybody understands what was said. Um,
yes, correct,
so
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's pivot then the conversation to like daily behaviors we engage in as we lead others. So when you think of leadership, Monet, what daily behaviors matters most to you in your role?
I think for people to feel heard and
Mm,
valued.
okay.
Um, I think that's very important for my staff. And I think
Yeah.
that's why I have the open door policy, because I want them to feel heard.
Yeah.
However, in that though, I also know that I have to be able to sustain that for myself, and I have to
Yeah.
have boundaries.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so I definitely have, for me, behaviorally, I need to be better at boundaries to make sure that I'm getting what I need and getting the time that I need to get stuff done. So, the operations can run smoothly. However, I think behaviorally, people want to be heard. People want to be
Yeah.
understood. People want to feel valued, that they're there for a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I really like that you keep going back to the open door policy, because that's the one thing we can do to let people know they can come to us at any time. We will hear them out. We value their opinions, but at the same time, you also talked about that balancing act, right? Of establishing
Right, right,
boundaries so you're not overwhelmed. Yeah.
right,
Um,
right.
so then in all of that, money, how do you intentionally model the behaviors you want to see, from those that you supervise and lead?
So I always try to, well, I do. I talk to everyone with respect. I listen.
Okay.
Like I don't interrupt. I try to listen to what they're saying and what they're trying to communicate to me, and then I repeat what
Right.
they're saying. And I do this in front of others to make sure they
Mm.
understand. Like, this is a conversation to make sure you understand. Like, like you said, in those moments where you thought
Yeah.
you understood, or you
Yeah.
thought we were on the same page and we weren't. So I want
Yeah.
to make sure I take the time to reiterate what you said and what steps you need from me.
Yeah.
And I've also done that with my leadership team
Hmm.
to say, okay, give me what you're working on. What is your goal for this week? Like, let's
Yeah.
break it down this week. What is your goal for this week? And how do you need me to help you with that goal? So I want to make sure that,
Yeah.
that you're seeing that it can be just simple and plain, but make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah. I like that. I really like that you said like respect, you said listen, you said like repeat. But then you
Yep.
also said, in addition to asking them, what's on their schedule, what are they doing this week, what do they have planned, how do they need you to help them? To me, that's empowering. That's powerful. Um, and then for me, I think of modeling, as you're saying, those behaviors in front of people so that they can see it, it's, to me, a very powerful learning tool because you're teaching without having to lecture, right? You're teaching without having to be in the classroom.
Right.
And
Right.
so they're just seeing you do it. And then, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this quote. It's often attributed to Albert Einstein, but it says, setting an example is not the main means of influencing others. It is the only means, right? So we
I love
have
that.
to always, right? Setting an example is not the main means of influencing others. It's the only means. So just like you said, asking, but also modeling and listening and responding, are all good ways to be able to model those behaviors that we want to see people engage in.
Right. You can't just talk the talk. You have to walk the walk, and you have to do that for your students as well.
Exactly. I love that. So then in all of that, we model behaviors. We're doing all of these good things, Monay. There is this thing called trust. And sometimes there are behaviors, whether it's behaviors from us, whether it's from staff, whether it's from parents, it doesn't really matter who it comes from, but some behaviors tend to erode trust, right? Which ones do you think are most likely to erode or diminish trust in leadership?
Oh, wow. I think how you gain trust from others is that you have to admit when you made a mistake. Don't be perfect.
Yes.
Admit when you make a mistake. Admit when you don't understand something. Admit that, I don't really have it all together either.
I say that all the time. Forget the name, forget the title.
I think as leaders, we kind of make it like we have to be this perfect being. Well, then you're untouchable.
Exactly.
Then it's like, oh, I can't even try to be like her or try to what that is going on. I think that trust goes with honesty. You have to be honest.
Yeah.
You have to be honest with your staff. You have to be honest with yourself. I'm not Superwoman. And I had to be honest. And in this role, I had to sit down and really especially within the first month, I was like, you are not Superwoman. Stop making it like you are.
100%. I'm with you. Yes.
I was like, I can't, and I had to admit to the staff, no, sometimes I do have to fake it till I make it.
Exactly.
Like, I need a cup of coffee in the morning too.
Yes. Oh yes. Or I might need a quick cat nap, something. Yes, we're humans. Exactly.
Yes, to bring that humanity back into it. And I think that's gain trust from everyone. You don't I'm with you on this road. I'm not, matter of fact, I'm behind you, pushing you forward. I don't necessarily have to be from the front. And I think that's where leaders get that wrong too.
No, I love that. You talked about, it's really, to me, everything you said is just being real, right? Just being real. Just being honest. And at the same time being accountable, owning up to our mistakes. Sometimes it's hard, but if we just do it, they trust us, they believe us, and then they support us, right?
Correct.
They have our backs. So instead of eroding trust, we try to think of, engaging in behaviors or supporting behaviors that promote positive behavior change. So you talked about this, somewhat to some extent in some of your responses already, but how do you intentionally ensure that the environment in which you lead, right, is designed to shape and support positive behaviors in students and staff, but then that those behaviors continue to change for the better?
So you have to highlight the little things. You have to highlight the little things. I'm excited that you came to work on time every day this week. That was awesome. I'm excited that you took the extra time with this student, even though you didn't have to. I like the fact that you went over and above, on this PD that you provided. We like that you're here, because where we work at is difficult. It's a struggle. But people come in and I do have a very great, support system. My vice principal is awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. And she comes up with these ideas, and we come up at least, I would say, once or twice a month, where we are just loving on our staff. And I think they appreciate that they know that they're appreciated, and what they do is valued. And it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. It can be just this little gesture. We gave out bubble gum, and they were loving it. We're like, you blow us away.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, it was something little, but they knew that they were recognized.
Wow.
And I think that's it. People want to be recognized. I see you.
Yeah.
You're doing awesome. This is hard. I understand it's hard, but you're doing great.
Yeah. That's wonderful. But when you said the little things, it made me think of, I'm sure you're familiar with this, but Carter's 8-step change model. I think it's step 6 where he talks about celebrating small wins. So
Yes.
just,
Yes.
yeah, recognizing all those little things and doing that over and over. And then you gave so many good examples of specific descriptive phrase that we talk about in, behavior analysis, but like saying exactly what it is they're doing and recognizing that.
Right.
But one theme that's coming from your conversation so far is value. I've heard the word multiple times, making people feel valued them, right? And appreciating them.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I
So,
think regardless of your position at the school or what at your corporation or wherever you happen to be,
yeah,
what you do matters. Because if you weren't there, whatever you
right.
were supposed to doesn't get done, and that
Yeah,
affects the next person. And I
yeah,
think knowing that you are a part of this family, that you're a part of this
yeah,
community, that it
yeah,
matters that you're not here. It matters
yeah,
if you don't do what you need to get done.
right,
It matters if you need help. Like, know that you are important. You're an important piece. That if you were to leave, yeah, it does matter.
right. Exactly. I love that. And then you added family and community, and I think that's big. But just overall, everything you said, even like, when you talked about the bubble gum, like you've lost the weight, like that creativity, that authenticity, right? To me are
Right,
really good
right.
examples you gave. So of all of the strategies you use, you gave some good examples. Which ones have you found to be most effective for reinforcing staff performance? Like they actually make a difference in the things that your staff do.
I think for us, I think it is
Okay.
that repetitive acknowledgement,
Okay. I like that.
repetitive celebration, like
Yeah.
that they know that we look forward to them being here and they have something to look forward to, because we do it like we don't always announce what we're going to do. Um,
Okay.
so each day looks a little different. So they didn't know that we were going to do bubble gum. They don't know when we have like special events just for staff.
Yeah.
Like they don't know those things. So it's a surprise thing. It might be midweek. It might be when we're feeling like, I think we also have to read the room, because what we do
Yeah.
is things are starting to feel a little, people are getting a little edgy. Then we come up
Yeah.
with something to kind of relax them,
Yeah.
make them feel safe, or,
Yeah.
whatever it is that we see that's lacking.
Yeah.
Make sure we meet with them, but make sure we are paying attention to the temperature of the
Yeah.
school and make sure we don't get too low of a degree or too high of a degree.
Right. Well, we need balance. Yeah.
Yeah, we need balance. So we just make sure we kind of intercede and make sure we're paying attention. Like we have to not be so focused on what I have to do every day. Like I have to get this done, but make sure you're paying attention to the people around you, because that's who essentially is running the school, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm giving you this test and this test and this test, but if you're not okay, it's not going to get done.
Right. 100%. I love that. Reading the room, and it really just aligns with, analyzing our environment, and
Right.
what's happening and responding to it. So I really like that. You guys are really establishing a responsive culture at your school, and that kind of helps us segue nicely into our next segment to talk about like culture and change, right? So your work, Monay, really reflects your strong commitment to seeing the whole person. And even if I didn't know it before, like just from our conversation so far, you've definitely established that. So how does that shape your leadership behaviors and decisions?
So right from the beginning, what I had staff do is I did this exercise with them. What I wish you would know. So they were to write down one thing that they would want me to know. And it's between us. I don't share with anybody. They know that I know.
Yeah.
Whether it's health related, family related, anything that they wanted me to know. And I seen this at a conference that I went to, and they did this with children.
Okay.
But then they wind up doing it with like a sergeant, like in the military.
Okay.
And when I tell you, because we started that way, they know, and they'll reference it. We've never talked about it unless they want to talk about it. We don't talk about it. It's on a piece of paper. I have it locked up.
Okay.
With their name on it. If they want to talk about it, we do. It's just something that they wanted me to know about themselves.
Yeah.
But they usually start off, like if they want a private conversation with me, they usually start off with, what I wrote on my paper, right? So. And then they'll share something, but then you see the whole person, because essentially people don't come into work wanting to fail.
Right.
That's not
100%.
why we come to work,
100%. Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
We don't come in to fail. So there's something else
Absolutely.
going on. If someone's not performing up to par
Yes,
or
yes,
something else, you have to look at what else is
yes,
going on. What is
yes,
shaping this person's
yes,
behavior? What is
yes,
going on outside of school? Or maybe it's something
yes,
inside of school. Maybe it's something
yes,
that I'm doing that you're uncomfortable with. You
yes.
have to figure that part out and know that you're willing to do that and work
Right.
with that.
Yeah. I really love that, Monay. What I wish you would know. I have to steal that from you. I love that. And I think it just builds trust, as we talked about earlier, in relationships. But the
Mhm.
other thing that's coming to me, Monay, from what you said is, a shift from judgment to curiosity. So instead of judging, let me just be curious. Just tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And I think that is so transformational in leadership, Monay. What do you think? Like judgment instead of curiosity. I mean, sorry, curiosity instead of judgment.
Yes. Why are we judging? For what?
Right,
Like,
right,
I don't know what's going on. There has to be a reason. Like, I don't believe that people come in and want to, let me see who I can aggravate today.
right, right.
I mean, maybe I'm, maybe that's my personality, but I don't think people
Yeah,
come in and say, I want to come in and aggravate all of y'all today.
yeah. Maybe in my next meeting, I'll come over and say, Monay, I'm going to aggravate you today.
Right.
But yeah, generally, no, that's not why they're coming to work. Yeah, you're so right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then, Monay, all of your person-centered approaches and your strength-based approaches, right? How do they
Mhm.
influence your behaviors as a leader?
So it makes me really want to learn my staff, who they are and what their strengths are so we can utilize them for the team and also
Mm,
to boost them up and get them to where they need to be. Because my systems won't work. My school's not going to work. The students are not going to get what they need unless I have everybody on the bus in the right seats. So if I
I
don't
like
have the
that.
right people on the bus in the right seats, and I learned that's another thing that I learned from my previous principal. You
Mm.
have to have the right people on the right bus in the right seats. If not, we're going to have to let them get off at the next stop. Listen, and I can be honest because listen,
Yeah,
I'll be
yes,
honest.
yes, yes, yes,
It's not for everybody. It really is
yes,
not. And you
yes,
have to be on board and you have to be in the right
right,
seat.
yes,
Like you can't be
yes,
driving the bus.
yes, yes, yeah, yes, yes,
My seat is taken.
yeah,
um, but I think once they realize that, like I said, we do this whole wolf thing, at our
yeah,
school, at the pack, it's about the pack. It's not about the
yes,
lone wolf. It's about the pack. We're
yes,
only as strong as the pack. So we
yes,
have to make sure that we're all in the right seats doing the right thing.
right,
And that we're working up to our strength and that we're building one another up. And I actually just had this conversation with my students because I'm working
right,
on them doing that with one another.
yeah, wonderful. I really love that. My systems and schools won't work unless I have them on the right bus, on the right seat. Is that how I heard it? Did I say it correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I really like that. Making sure people are where they need to be or where they're meant to be. And then if not, but I also feel like we also have an obligation sometimes to help people identify that, right? Be at peace
Right.
with it,
Right.
accept it, but then help support them in finding what could be this thing or this place, that they could be that
Correct.
just aligns,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So then with all of that, Monay, how do you ensure your behavioral expectations or your expectations for staff and, the access, are equitable and culturally responsive?
Wow. So I think with that, the expectation has to be for everyone.
Okay.
Um, although I do have those one-on-one meetings. Those
Yeah.
one-on-one meetings are to meet people where they are, but
Right.
still understand that is still the expectation.
Yeah.
This is where
Yeah.
we have to be as a
Yeah.
team to make this work. Now, how can I help you get there? And that's
Okay.
how we make it equitable.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm helping you where you're at to
Yeah.
get where you need to be.
Yeah.
Even though expectation is for you to be there, you might not be there right now. That's fine. How
Right.
can I help you get there?
Yeah. I love that. These are the
Yes.
expectations. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what tools do you need? These are the expectations. This is
Mm.
where I need you to be. How can I get you to get there?
What tools do you need? How can I get you to get there? I love that. So setting the expectation. And then even for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm working a lot on culture,
Mm-hmm.
at my site. So it's like semester 2 for me because, I just started, in August. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like semester 2 and I'm like, all right, it's time to, there's this book, we read, this was a couple of years ago, Turn the Ship Around. I was like, yeah, now it's time to really start, as you're saying, these are the expectations. We're going to turn the ship around. How can I help you get there? How can I help you stay on board, right? You know, how can I make sure you're in the right seat in the right place, as you said, right? And if not, how can I support you to get somewhere else where that aligns more with your values and beliefs? Yeah. Yes. So thank you for sharing that. So then, Monay, with all of your years of experience, I mean, you've worked as a leader, you've worked under leaders, you've had your special ed director really recognize and see your work and, you know, help propel you to where you are. What advice would you give to new emerging leaders about choosing to engage in behaviors that create those positive, inclusive, valued, as you've been saying, leadership cultures that you have created and sustained?
I think you have to honor others. You have to know that everyone is important that's on your team, regardless of what they do, all the way to the janitor. Because listen, if the school's not, listen, they're important people.
Yes, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
Important people. Like, don't make it seem like you are the end all be all and you can't do it all. You have to be able to see what everyone is great at and give them that to do.
Yes.
And then support. Our job is to support. And I think a lot of times as leaders, we feel like we have to do it all. Yeah. And that's not it. Because then you feel like, oh, I should be doing. No, you shouldn't. You gave that to that person. And if they need your help, they'll come back to you and ask. And if you see it being done, how can I support you to help you?
Exactly. I love that. It's that empowerment, but it's also that delegation. It's also that ability, Monay, that was hard for me years ago to let go. Like, you know, like, no.
Yes, you're not Superwoman.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your cape in the closet.
Yes. Like, zip it, like, pull back. Tap your hand. Like, stop, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Leave them.
That's right. And I'm still learning that. I'm not saying I do that 100%. Right. My vice principal will tell me to sit down in a minute. Go sit down and shut your door.
I love that. Sit down and go shut your door. I like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Making ourselves engage in those behaviors too. Where it's like self-control a bit, right? Like, leave it alone. Yeah. Monay, everything you said made me think about this thing that I really try to push, where it's really modeling and encouraging staff to avoid self-deprecating, like, just language, where they say things like, well, I'm just the staff, I'm not the supervisor, I'm just the PCA, you know? And I hear staff say that all the time, and I always jump in. Like, even I was doing a training earlier last year, and there was a job coach, and she was like, well, I'm just the job coach. And I immediately stepped in. I was like, you're not just the job coach. You are the job coach, right?
You are the job coach.
Yep. You're an integral part of the team. So I really like how you said that, like, honoring everyone, regardless of it's the janitor. It doesn't matter the position or the director or the CEO. It doesn't really matter. Like, we're all leaders in our own rights, right? And as you said, giving them the opportunities to lead and going inside, sit down and shut the door.
Right. Let them do what they were. Listen, you gave them position. Let them do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Monay, we know there are times where we're like, all right, we gave you the positions, let them do it. But sometimes some staff are resistant to change, right? So whether it's whatever the position is or something new, we know in our field there's always change, right? There's always things happening. How do you lead your systems and your staff through behavioral resistance when implementing change, or just on a daily basis?
So that happened to within this transition a lot, because we had some staff that remained at the school that were there with the previous administration, and they've been there for years. So to try to, get that barrier, because they were definitely like, looking at me like, I don't know. So I think it's very important to have those difficult conversations and get to understand what barriers do you see, or why are you nervous? What things did you really like that happened before that were changing? And how can we make that change a little bit easier for you? How can we support this change? Again, I think it's, your staff want to be listened and heard. They don't want to feel out or not part of the conversation, because even if the answer is no, they were part of the conversation. And they can better understand why it's a no. They may not agree with it, but they can better understand and trust that you're taking what they're saying and you're hearing what they're saying. You have to take the time to understand people's positions. So obviously I can't meet with 250 staff members, right?
Right.
So what I did is I built leadership within in those teams, within my
Okay.
teacher. So then they would have someone that they were, if people had issues or concerns or whatever, they would then go to those leads, and then I meet with them on a regular basis so they can tell me what concerns are happening, so they know that their voices are being heard, because I can't listen to 250 people. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But I can give someone a point person to you that can come to me, that we can kind of discuss those things.
Yeah. I love everything you said. And there's a lot of themes that you keep repeating, but things like, tell them the why, or how can I help? How can I support? It goes back to when you said earlier, like we've delegated you, go ahead, run with it, but just come back if you have a question. How can I support? You also talked about, they want to listen to them because they want to be heard. It reminds me of when you said earlier, making them feel valued. They want to feel valued, right? But what I really liked in everything you said, you're like, even if the answer is no, they can understand why, because you had a conversation with them, right? And they were able to share their input. I really like that.
Right. Because sometimes it is going to be no.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to change. They can't stay the same. And there is reason behind that. And sometimes people don't see the background. They just, oh, well, she's doing it because, she's a leader. That's what she's going to do. Or she's the principal. So she feels like doing. And that's not always the case. And for me, that's really never the case, to be quite honest.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I try to make sure, like I said, that I'm listening, that I'm taking all the pieces together, and then making the best decision that is for the students and the staff.
Yeah. And I also like that you said, like, even within your classroom teams, you designate a leader, right? Because you cannot meet with 250 or however number of people, but you can meet with a smaller group. So I really like that too. That's really a good, example and, advice for our listeners. So let's move into like our final segment. We want to like kind of just focus a bit on like your values, how you sustain as a leader, and advice you would give to our listeners. So how do your personal values may influence how you lead?
So, I am a faith-built person. So I'm about grace. I'm all about, empathy. I'm all about, I guess it all goes into like making sure people feel valued, that they are respected. And I try to do that throughout the day. I try to do that, throughout my leadership time, that I've been at my school so far, to let them know that I truly, and I couldn't do what I do if you didn't do what you did.
Yeah.
Like that I need you, you need me.
Yes.
Not that you just need me. I don't want it to be a one-way street. I think I do that because of my faith.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think faith is such an important part. Giving grace is something I always say, but like also giving grace to myself too, Monay, right?
Yes.
Because trust me, honey, I need that like every day.
Yes, like it was okay that you didn't get that done today.
Exactly, 100%. But then I also like that you talked again about being valued or making them feel valued, empathy, right? And respect, all real big things. And for me, you said earlier when we started talking about, welcoming environments. And for me, being born in Grenada, values that are important to me are just like you said, culture and community. So things like belonging and inclusion and togetherness are really for me, forefront thoughts. And, I try to, embody those, in everything that I do, on a daily basis. But I really love the ones you shared too about grace, empathy, and respect, and then value, of course. So in all of our conversations so far, we've been talking about things and that kind of hint to the fact that we'll need to remain motivated and grounded, right? Because we're in challenging positions. We're in complex positions, right? Complex fields. So how do you keep yourself motivated and grounded, Monay?
I do the special things that I like to do.
Okay.
So I make time to do special things. So, although I do have an open door policy on Saturdays and Sundays are, basically my time. So about Sunday evening, but I do things that I love to do. Whether it's that reading, whether it's that reading the Bible, whatever, or spending time with my family, I make sure those things get done. Those are priority, because that's why I do what I do. Because, I love my family and I want to make sure I'm still for them and I'm present for them. And then I get that time, for my faith so I can be motivated.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, family is very important. For me, it's like spending time with my daughter too, but then also going back to Grenada to visit my family because everyone's there, right? So that's really important. I love that. But faith, as you said, and reading, whether it's reading the Bible or reading a book, anything encouraging. For
Right.
me, Monet, I really love quotes, like, and to the point that one of my former staff literally gifted me a quote book because everybody just knows. But so like
Uh-huh.
that kind of really keeps me going and grounded. So I put one up on my board like for the month, but then I also every week I share out like I call it like weekly Wednesday wisdom to my staff of one that like really resonated with me. So here's the
Hmm.
one I chose this week. It says, we don't know if we're brave until we first face genuine physical risk.
Yes.
We
Yes.
don't know if we're honest until telling the truth carries a consequence.
Mm.
We don't know if we're kind until our kindness is tested with cruelty. That really stood out to me,
Yeah.
when I read that this week. This was by David French. He wrote that in the New York Times in December of last year. But
I
that,
love that.
yeah, that's one of the things I do. I just like to lean on motivational quotes because they keep me really motivated, as the word says, but just grounded. Especially in those moments and having it just posted in my office, whatever the quote is, I can quickly glance and like, all right, take a deep breath, whatever, things like that. So thank you for
Right.
sharing
Right.
yours. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a quote with our students yesterday, and a couple of the staff really liked it.
Yeah. What was
It,
yours?
it was, let me see if I can remember it correctly. The lion, tiger are stronger than the wolf, but the wolf decides not to join the circus.
Oh, I love that.
So I
Oh,
gave
that's
it
a
to
strong
my
one.
students.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. And then sometimes they're fun like that where they can, make you laugh. So either way, just being able to laugh, amidst the pressure is also good
Right,
too. Yeah.
right,
So in all of
right.
that, we're talking about laughing, Monet, and how do you avoid burnout? What do you do?
So we celebrate a lot at our school. We do. We
Okay.
celebrate a lot. Our students love to dance. Our staff love to dance. We like to do fun things together.
Yeah.
We love spirit week. We like dressing like each other, dressing goofy, like just having
Yeah.
those times to smile and laugh.
Yeah.
And like even like play jokes on one another.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so listen, we love to laugh and have fun and
Yeah.
have fun every day. We
Yeah.
try not to be so serious.
Yeah.
Like at school is a place to have fun. I remember
Yes.
loving school as a kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like I kind of got away from that. And I want
Yeah.
students and staff to want to be, in our building.
Yeah.
So I try to be uplifting and fun
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might not be as fun as our
Right.
Fun Friday,
Right.
at least,
Right.
smile, say hi.
Yeah.
I try to say hello to people by their names so they know that I know who they are, that kind of thing. And that's difficult. Like 200 people, that's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. 100%.
But I think just those things, just to see that people are seen and heard,
Yeah.
and that we're just excited for the day, and that we're loving on one another, like, and making sure we're checking in on one another. Like if you see someone like, are you all right? You
Yes.
okay? You
Yes.
need a minute? And I'm
Yes.
always inviting
Yeah.
people to my purple office, I call it, cause it
Oh,
is all
lovely.
purple.
Yeah. And purple is calming.
It
Like
is. It is.
lavender and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I invite them in. I have my jazz music playing. Go ahead and sit down and take a minute. If that's what you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. No, I love it. But like the fun you talked about, but then just making a space for people, right? And so they know
Yep.
they can come in, they can chill, they can take a break, they can, tap out,
Yep.
get
You just
themselves,
have to
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about that constantly. If you need to tap out, please know that about yourself, that you need to tap out. We will
yeah,
tap in so you
yeah,
can tap out.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I like that. It's that self-awareness, right? Knowing your triggers and knowing when you're at a certain point.
Yep.
Um, so on that note, a lot of those things when it require us to be compassionate, right? And, with your faith belief and your faith backgrounds, right? I know that's something that's one of your values without you even saying it. So how can emerging leaders, lead with accountability, but at the same time, compassion?
So I think that goes back to what I said before about this is the expectation, right?
Okay.
You're here. So let's figure
Yeah.
out why you're here and what tools you need to get you where I need you.
Yeah.
I still need you accountable. So what's
Hmm.
going on that we can't reach there? There's a reason why. Again, I don't think people come to work like, I don't care. I don't feel like it. I'm not doing it. I just
Yeah.
want to fail today.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
don't go into it wanting to fail, but there are barriers and stuff that are blocking people to get to what the expectations are so they can be held accountable. So how can I help you? So to me, I can't hold you accountable unless I give you the tools to get to where you need to go.
Yeah. I love that. How can I help you get there? But then also prioritizing them as a person first, right? Going back to, you mentioned earlier, humanity, right? Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So to close us out, Monay, what are 3 leadership takeaways you want listeners to walk away with from this conversation?
Wow. Okay. I think one, 3. Okay. So I think one would definitely be illuminate strengths. Illuminate strengths of yourself. Please illuminate strengths. You have to.
Yeah.
And number 2 would be to take time to understand.
Okay.
Take time to understand. So illuminate strengths, take time to understand. And number 3, have fun. Relax, let your hair down, have fun. Listen, have fun. Like, this is a career, right? I can't be stuck in that, but like, have fun. You have to love what you do, because then you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes. I love that. That was such a good way to wrap us up, Monay. Illuminate strengths, take time to understand, and have fun. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining the show, Monay. I really appreciate it and enjoyed this entire conversation with you. I made notes. I learned a lot from it. There are a lot of things you said I'm going to implement myself, but then also share with my staff, because it's all about this process of continuous growth and improvement. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for the invite.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Behaviorally Speaking, Leadership for Changemakers. I'm so grateful to Dr. Legette for sharing her leadership journey, her lessons learned, and her commitment to leading with empathy, clarity, and intention. She reminded us that trust is built through honesty, that systems should serve people, and that when leaders focus on valuing and understanding those they lead, real and lasting change becomes possible. As we wrap up today's conversation, my hope is that you're walking away with a deeper understanding that leadership is not about perfection. It's about presence, accountability, and intentional behavior. If this episode resonated with you, I encourage you to reflect on the daily behaviors you engage in as a leader and how small, intentional actions can create lasting, meaningful change. Remember to subscribe, share the episode with a colleague or a fellow leader, continue the conversation about behaviorally informed leadership, and join me next time as we continue exploring leadership through a behavioral lens. Until next time, lead with purpose, lead with empathy, and remember that the behaviors you model today shape the culture of tomorrow. This is Dr. Bubb, and thank you for listening.